For the longest time, I've always believed the NSX is the best car in the world. But I'm not so arrogant to believe my objective opinion should be accepted as a fact. So, to prove my point, I've enrolled myself into Gran Turismo's Dream Car Championship with nothing but a Max NSX with barely any tuning. To put things into perspective, my car would only have 408 horsepower. That's not even enough to enter a supercar festival. Meanwhile, the Camaro LM has 50% more than that. While my car does only weigh 1.1 tons after an extensive weight reduction program, the Camaro LM in question only weighs a tiny bit more than that. And I'll have to face 5 more that's at least on par with the Camaro. Well then, outnumbered and definitely outgunned, I wonder if victory is still possible. No, the NSX is the best car in the world, damn it! So, armed with what most would call a blind faith, I braved myself to take on the race of elite-level competition machines. The first round was set in Opera Paris. Upon launching, I was quick to be left behind by my rivals. Not even on the corners can I gain any ground. So far, we're looking bleak, real depressing stuff. But as soon as we hit the chicane, I saw it. I saw hope, and holding out bore great fruit, especially with the Camaro holding that Italian back. And just like that, I managed to swoop in and grab P4. Now, if we were to follow the customs somehow present in a very competitive, individualistic environment, you'll slow down like the rest around this corner. But I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win. So instead, I let the car rip and styled my way to victory. And just like that, I managed to claim victory early. But surely, this alone would be nowhere near enough to net me the win, right? And that was that. A surprisingly easy victory against elite race cars. But that was just the first round out of 7. A win here will mean nothing if I could not win in the following ones. And let me tell you, there will be no such thing as unofficial slow zones going forward. The next round took place in Tokyo. Fortunately, the grid start served as a great equalizer. I charged bravely onto the fray, but was stopped by the Zonda, who had gathered his bearings and fought back.
Don't think it's gonna be that easy, Blue Man.
Whoa, chill. What's your problem?
Your disrespect! How dare you ignore the Rue Royale!
Listen, I don't know. Despite the crash, I was still capable of fighting back. And after a gruesome duel against the Camaro, I finally caught the lead. Problem is, I was fresh out of practice in this game, which had caused this unfortunate mistake down a supposedly easy corner. I was lucky the NSX was agile enough to prevent this incident from evolving into a disaster. Well, a contender cut above the rest at last. Looks like I found who will become a nemesis this time. Or so I thought. At this rate, I'm afraid not even high-level cars could… What the…
Give up, poser! Look at that sorry-ass car! You never belong here! Loser!
Ooh, that is it! If he wants war, he'll get war! With ferocious anger, I made my way up the hill in a surprisingly clean manner given my state of mind, and like an intercontinental ballistic missile, I went after my target.
Whoa! Neither got no respect for the sport!
You pit maneuvered me, and somehow it's me that disrespected racing? Our battle lasted all the way throughout the section, but little that the Pagani knew, I got some nitrous left, and once I entered the corner, even he knew I have won our fight. But the battle has yet to be won. And unfortunately, try as I might, but that Zonda was just that fast on the line. But you know what? It's fine. After all, I can always take all that back on the first hairpin. From that point on, all I needed to do was to take the corner safely, and my plans would play out nicely. Once I hit the final straights, I put it all down, maximum throttle complemented by a healthy dose of nitrous. And would you look at that? There's nothing more satisfying than snatching victory from the jaws of defeat with a plan flawlessly executed to boot. The next round was set in Deep Forest Raceway. Now, the rolling start had put me in quite a disadvantage, and knowing this game, if I don't get to the top in time, my rivals would just speed after Narnia and challenge. So, I hammered down like my life was depending on it. Looks reckless, but look, by properly taking on the corner, I could catch up and finally take advantage of this hilariously slow exit.
Hot damn, all that in a road car?
He's talented. We should do well to learn from him. Yeah? Like putting a rocket engine in your car? No way he's doing this to all of us without cheating!
For a while, I remained uncontested, but complacency leads to disaster, which was proven by how a lapse in judgment had driven me right to the sands, wiping out any advantage I've built throughout the course of the race. The Zonda, of course, was more than happy to capitalize on this weakness.
I knew you never got what it takes. Give up. You're giving real racers a bad name.
In retaliation, I tailed him down and kept him on the ropes. Finally, I won my position back, but this drama had brought us closer than expected. Ultimately, history was forced to repeat itself through such unprofessional conduct, but I was no stranger of being Bowie knifed. So, with precise controls, I managed to get the NSX back in line and use my rival's weakness to reclaim my victory. This time, I managed to make it last. The next round took place in the beating heart of America, New York, a layout that favors speed and power just as much as Tokyo, if not more, for an underpowered contender such as my NSX. This round might prove to be a problem. And would you look at that? The Zonda had made an early escape, taking advantage of its speed to mow down the competition. But streaks, you might ask. Your pace is faster than the Zonda, and you made quick and consistent progress on the first lap. Why worry? Well, you see, that spectacular progress was only possible because I had used 40% of the nitrous on the first lap alone. We have 7 whole laps around this track, and all it did was cut the gap in half. Without the nitrous, there were simply too many avenues here for the Zonda to utterly destroy me. But that doesn't mean I will just roll over and accept defeat. I've won over worse odds before. If this battle of speed is to be my lifeline against the grossly overpowered Italian menace, then I should approach this race smartly. I still remembered the ideal racing line throughout this track. At the first checkpoint of the third lap showed I was getting closer towards my biggest enemy, and by cornering better, I have attained a faster pace than my opponent. By the fourth lap, I have finally caught up, and on the roundabout, I decided to counter his textbook cornering approach with its opposite: fast in, slow out. With this, I had finally scored the overtake, and while I had to slow down on my way out, I managed to block the Zonda from making a counter-attack. But on the final lap, I went too wide, and the Pagani took the gaping window to reclaim his post. I knew the upcoming corner would end in a tight road, so once again, I dove right onto it and let the environment did the rest.
This isn't over. You're cracking, and you know it.
That might be true, especially on the straights, but extensive experience had given me the skills to play defensively, a skill I used to its utmost limit to prevent this upstart Zonda from taking over ever again. And once I emerged from the roundabout on top, I used the last of my nitrous to seal the deal. After 7 laps of utter disadvantage, I've proven that even this was not enough to put the amazing NSX down. That's 4-4, and I'm not stopping there. Hong Kong, a layout I might have a fair fighting chance, but reality is often disappointing. Look at this gap. We're just in the first lap and already the race cars have shown the utter situation I was in. At this point, the other racers were not rivals, they're moving obstacles. By the second lap, my madden charge had allowed me to finally catch up with the actual competition, but even with the nitrous, I was unable to make an overtake. But I didn't let something like this shake me. Accuracy was the name of the game, and I threaded through that needle, and this level of expertise had apparently psyched the Zonda out, earning me my rightful position once again.
It is unlike you to be stricken with fear. Shut up! I was only going easy on him. Look at him, taking us on with a daily driver.
After I fended off the Zonda's early last stand, I used this layout's nature to ease my job to defend my position. Lap after lap, I built a sizable advantage over my rivals, a few milliseconds at a time. With the NSX's great ability in preserving tires, I waved off any need for the pit stop, which will definitely destroy any chance of victory I have in this event. Ironically, despite the track's difficult layout, I had a much easier time here than the rounds before. That was that. Another victory in hand. The next round was set in... Yeah, screw this. Just kidding. Before, I'd either rain on my biggest rival's parade or outright give up, but not this time. Now I would like to see if I can win against high-level race cars in a competition of pure speed. After some tuning to, hopefully, have enough top speed. By pouring the nitrous from launch, I managed to snatch P1 before any of my rivals could make a move. But that was not the end of this race. You see, the Zonda was approaching, proving to be a step above the rest of my rivals once again.
Oh, you're not getting away this time! I'm in a race car! A freaking Zonda race car! I cannot lose to someone in an overrated car that cannot even enter Supercar Festival! beautiful!
Much to my delight, it looked like the Zona could not pull numbers higher than my NSX, even on the speed department. Safe to say, this tune was just enough to finally pull that one win I just could not reach before. Next up, the mods. And considering the egregiously long straights known as the Mulsanne Straight, I used the same configuration to take on my rivals. But it appeared that I could have used some practice, especially with how dangerous this track could be for the inexperienced. The sands are especially vicious for your car apparently, and my inability to be optimal throughout the section had made me unable to make meaningful progress. That means I have to somehow make it up on the Mulsanne Straight.
Move, slowpoke! I've no time for you!
This ain't no parade, Mario. If you wanna pass, you gotta earn it.
As I barreled down the section, I prayed the Camaro would hold him back long enough for me to third-party them both. And lucky me, my prayers were answered. Combining both nitrous and slipstream had allowed me to reach speeds I never thought possible for this NSX, and I managed to catch up right as the Zonda had just broken free from the American's hold. But the fight was not yet over, especially the Porsche and Corvette curves, where my inexperience was once again put on display. I was treading through in fear that I might slip to the sands and be put to a halt. Thanks to this, the Zonda managed to climb back to P1, but I held on until the fourth chicane, in where I instinctively knew what to do. But our duel continued even on the final lap, so I made it my priority to reach top speed as soon as possible while I was still ahead. This duel had become so exhilarating, I forgot the proper point to brake at the end of this intoxicating line.
Washed! Look at you! A total fraud! Why don't you go back to the streets and leave the tracks to pros, huh?
No, that cannot be it. Surely I can still make a comeback from this. Oh, I know, the creative racing technique. Maybe I can still pull that off on the chicane. Okay, so far so good, come on! Well, I'm still winning though. The final round was set in El Capitan. As there's no long straights here, I reverted my tune as I would need the acceleration more. Before even a quarter of the first lap, I've managed to reach P1. From this point on, it's simply a matter of not wiping out like the last time, since the nature of this layout greatly favors handling over speed, which is something my NSX excelled at. Unfortunately, looks like I cannot even manage that properly, as my indecisiveness had once again caused a massive problem.
Aw, look at you! Still shaky from having your ass handed to you? Pathetic! Hey man, I don't know your name, but you don't have to worry about the last round. Just drive through your best and end this championship in a high note.
He's right, I must compose myself. While the NSX is forgiving, it still requires someone who's calm and collected to bring out its true potential. Besides, it's not like he's that far away from me anyway. I can still tailgate him through the corners, and despite the track's elevation changes were absolutely a hindrance, I still could catch up and duel the Zona for the win. While I knew the ideal racing line throughout this track, I must find a way to deal with its mountainous nature, or else the Zonda will always come back when I suffer from the snap oversteer it causes. The answer to that was awfully simple in theory, yet advanced in practice. Throttle control. It was here that I remembered the key in driving middle-engine cars. This technique helped tremendously in navigating the harsh ups and downs this track has, and gave me a strong ground in this everlasting duel against the Pagani. Frustrated with the prospect of being completely beaten and humiliated by a road car, again, the Zonda pulled one last dirty trick to reign victorious on the final lap.
Stay down, punk! You're done making an embarrassment out of me!
This isn't over, and you know it. By the hairpin, I returned the favor, but the Italian was far from done. We remained head-to-head across the later sections of this track. And finally, after the final corner, I hit the hammer down, along with anything that's left in the nitrous tank. And after all the grueling uphills and downhills, after 7 rounds nothing short of nail-biting action, I won the championship for elite race cars in an NSX. So, is the NSX the best car in the world? Objectively, maybe. But for me, absolutely.
Hey, do you remember me? Congrats on the win, man. You've shown what the NSX was capable of, as well as your skills in that tournament.
Thanks, but why help me? You didn't get anything out of that.
Well, let's just say your passion for the NSX has moved me. I was also looking for someone with your skills to help.
I'm listening.